Greetings to all. Today, we will be presenting the proposed concept for the rehabilitation of the People's Park, Burnham Park. Given that there's more than one way to rehabilitate Burnham Park, the challenge is to form a structured approach so as to come up with a sound and a solid master rehabilitation plan for Burnham Park. The following slides will show you the design framework the technical working group used to develop the plan. What is a park? A park is an area of natural, semi-natural, or planted space set aside for human enjoyment and recreation or for the protection of wildlife or natural habitats. Today, the local government needs 17 million pesos to maintain Burnham Park. This slide is to illustrate the comparison between Central Park and Burnham Park based on the percentage of maintenance costs used per hectare. Central Park, land area around 341 hectares, only spends 0.3% of their annual maintenance budget per hectare. While Burnham Park, land area only around 33 hectares, spends 3% of its annual maintenance budget per hectare. Central Park spends less per hectare on maintenance, and it's even voted one of the best city parks in the world. Compliance. Before any design developments are started, the first step is to find out the governing policies to ensure any design developed complies with the law. Pronouncements. NHCP considers Burnham Park an important cultural property. Executive Order 695 Series 2008 transfers the control of Burnham Park to the City of Baguio and TIESA as the supervising authority. Under CLUP or Comprehensive Land Use Plan, Section D, Strategies, Major Development Strategies and Policies states the following. Line item A, it says, enhance and improve natural landscape and aesthetics of the city. Line item B, provide pedestrian walkways. Line item G, promote low-density development in the city. Line item H, proper and strict enforcement of national and local laws, regulations on natural resources, physical and land uses, and environment. Line item K, enhance Burnham Park and Botanical Garden parks with more trees and other diverse ornamental plants. These parks should promote an atmosphere of quietness to allow visitors to commune with nature. This is the zoning ordinance for parks and recreation zone, aka PRZ. Please note that underground parking is only allowed on a PRZ zone. How do we design for the rehabilitation of Burnham Park? How do we ensure that strict compliance to Baguio's Comprehensive Land Use Plan and Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance are met? The TWG came up with 5 design strategies. Design for differing abilities. Designing for the inclusion and enjoyment of everyone, including those with differing cognitive, sensory, physical, or development abilities. Design optimized for maximum accessibility, use of tactile ground surface indicator, accessible restrooms, and disabled parking spaces. Considering the gender dynamics, designers must tune in to how people of different gender identities and expressions navigate and use public spaces. Design a space to feel not only open but also exciting. Example, an outdoor reading area. We need to take into account how the city supports the LGBT community. Provide amenities for cultural activities. It is too common for public space designers to aim either to replicate other iconic parks or to create low-maintenance, low-imagination facilities that result in aggressive blandness. To avoid these copy-paste design choices, designers need to tap into the values and uses of different groups over time. Design a space that is always of genuine cultural exchange. Fourth, Recognize public spaces as storytellers. Design of public space that tells a story to gain public interest. Design displays like plaques, statues, and signs. Recognizing local history can ensure that members of the community feel seen and acknowledged. Last, make a little room for retail. Design spaces that provide opportunities for underrepresented vendors to attract a broader audience. This could also play part in redistribution economic opportunities to people who may not otherwise have access to a physical location to sell their products or services. Note: retail must never be the sole purpose of the space. Aim for balancing retail and non-retail uses. This ensures that the space never crowds out users who simply want to use the space without being a customer. With this design strategy as a guide, we developed the Master Redevelopment Plan for Burnham Park. Other considerations: the central axis designed by Daniel Burnham. Burnham Park is a heritage site. It is a natural aquifer. Is seen as the lungs of Baguio City. Burnham Park, Melvin Jones, was used as an evacuation area during the 1990 earthquake. Pope John Paul II held Mass at Burnham Park. A section of the park was a site for a mass burial during World War II. Analysis. Site analysis. Considering the different uses that surrounds Burnham Park to create context. Here is the current traffic and parking analysis we have done for Burnham Park. The red line are the current locations of where vehicles can park. This is either paid or free. The blue line is where the current POJs are parked. The yellow area are the current identified bottlenecks during peak time. The purple area are the current identified paid parking areas. The green arrows are to indicate the known areas that experiences regular heavy vehicular traffic. This is the sound pattern for Burnham Park. The design. Traffic flow. The new vehicular access proposed for Burnham Park. These are the road intersections which will be affected by the new design of Burnham Park. The closure of the park from vehicular entry will help in reducing the carbon emissions that will aid in addressing climate change. The blue circle is the proposed entry-exit to the parking area for Creative Center and Athletic Bowl. Aside from the existing pedestrian access to Burnham Park, this slide is to illustrate a concept for an elevated steel footbridge that will cross Harrison Road. This walkway will connect SM parking to Burnham Park to maximize the use of external facilities and help lower the pollution in the Burnham Park area. Sample of steel footbridges. The idea would be to incorporate structures that are not too bulky or massive and that it should blend nicely with the environment. Benefits on changing the road access. Reduce carbon emissions, increase pedestrian safety, increase bicycle safety, accessible only to emergency vehicles, reduce conflict points to improve vehicular flow inside the CBD area. Trade in Burnham Park. The objectives of the new trade regulations at Burnham Park. To comply with CLUP Section D, Item K, this park should promote an atmosphere of quietness to allow visitors to commune with nature. Rezoning the park to designate certain parts of Burnham Park for retail and non-retail for AC control. Define what type of retail and non-retail so as to ensure that the space never alienates users who simply want to use the space without being a customer. The park will play part in redistribution of economic opportunities to people who may not otherwise have access to a physical location to sell their products or services. to prevent too much of the same thing. The LGU is committed in looking after its residents. The DSWD is to ensure that displaced concessionaires are engaged to their livelihood displacement programs. New trade layout. Orchid retail. These are the bicycle rental areas. Skating and refreshments area, no food. Artisan trade and refreshments, weekends and special occasions. Rowboat rentals. Pasalubong center and restaurants. Ambulant vendors, just a small number. Ibaloy center with refreshments, no food. Sports center with refreshments. And Pine Trees of the World with refreshments. These are the new concessional regulations to comply with the CLUP. There should only be a maximum of 25 rowboats. Bicycles will be painted same color. Ambulant limited numbers and restricted to a certain area in the park. Pasalubong centers to operate only at the old fire station next to Igorot Park. Restaurants located above the Pasalubong Center. And refreshments at designated locations only. Refreshments will be categorized as no food or with food. Benefits of the new trade regulations. Environment. Objectives for the new regulations. Reducing the number of retail use will help in the reduction of crowding inside the park area. Reducing the number of rowboats to minimize the underwater disturbance that causes the lake to go brown. Designating picnic areas and allocating proper bins. Designating areas where refreshments will be allowed and placements of drinking fountains. Use of environment-friendly public toilets. Use designs that will protect the ecology of the city. Burnham Park has been known as a natural aquifer. Use segregated garbage system. Motor vehicle will be banned from entering the park. Designated parking for PW and seniors, but time limited. The park will be accessible to emergency vehicles. Planting more native plants. Use of less concrete. Burnham Park is a known natural aquifer. An aquifer is an underground layer of water bearing permeable rock fractures, or unconsolidated materials. Regreening of Burnham Park is increasing its green space by around 10%. Benefits of the new design. Banning the entry of motor vehicles creates lower carbon emissions. The additional 10% of green cover will help in reducing the heat island effect. Additional green cover improves evapotranspiration. The reduction of retail inside the park will help reduce crowding inside the park. Less people, less rubbish generated. With the increase in green cover will help in improving the habitat for birds and others. Banning motor vehicles reduces disturbance to their natural habitat. New zoning. These are the different park zones. These are the new park security systems. Park rangers on segways, high-resolution CCTV, park rangers on bikes. Dependencies. It is critical that the sewer system of the park is first fixed. Rehabilitation requires money. A private and non-profit organization to manage all the parks in Baguio City. A separate committee is handling the rehabilitation of the sports center. And the redevelopment of the park will depend on the vision and the priority of the local government. The proposed designs. This is the proposed site plan for the rehabilitation of Burnham Park. Due to budgetary constraints, the rehabilitation of Burnham Park will be done in phases. Phase 1. These are the areas covered in Phase 1. The following slides will show you the different architectural renderings for Phase 1. This is the rowboat dock. This is the promenade, the Melvin Jones, the children's playground, and the skating rink. The following slides are proposed designs for the remaining areas of Burnham Park. These designs are only place markers to serve only as a guide to help understand the complete vision of the technical working group. Design studies for these areas will commence when a decision is made by the chairman of the TWG to proceed. The different areas covered in the next phase. The following slides will show you the different architectural renderings for the remaining areas not covered in Phase 1. The Orchid Center, the Ibaloy Historical Garden, Creative Center, Amphitheater, and Pine Trees of the World. These are some of the risks that could potentially impact the rehabilitation of Burnham Park. Poor displacement livelihood programs, hiring of underqualified developers, upgrading of the sewer system for Burnham Park is delayed, high numbers of return for information, little communication. The project deliverables for this master plan: improve the natural landscape and aesthetics of the city, proper and strict enforcement of the national and local laws, enhance Burnham Park with 10% more green cover, Burnham Park to promote an atmosphere of quietness, allow visitors and residents to commune with nature, less commercialization, and deliver the 5 design strategies. Thank you.